Allison is, I guess, much like myself, a no BSer. She really doesn't, um, beat it around the bush. She's somebody that's fiercely protective of her family and really um, very driven to be a good person and a good member of the community. And we never really deal with what she does for a living in the first film. I always assumed that she was either a stay-at-home mom or teacher or something where she had a lot of time to be with her son, because I think that was very much important to her family. What happens with Clark hitting and them having to go and fight for their family and their survival brings them closer together, and they realize what's important in life. And where the film ends is they've survived, they're in this bunker. And where we pick up in Greenland too, it's obviously been very difficult. It's 5 years of living underground, and their relationship has grown. And they're doing their best under the circumstances, but you can tell that there's a lot of love there. So in this film, in Greenland too, we have Roman, who plays Nathan, and it's really funny to just go from, like, what we imagined the first one to be, and then to suddenly have a teenager. So it's been, like, really fun to adjust the relationship and, like, try to imagine and fill in the blanks of what's been happening the last 5 years with the family. I think we're dealing more actually with the reality of what it would have been like to be underground for 5 years, what it is to be a kid growing up, where most of the memories and things that you remember from childhood is actually in a bunker underground, and the problems that come with that. And we have had this pandemic, right, to draw on, and I know that what happened with my kids during that time, and this the way that people emotionally develop differently under the circumstances. So we were trying to borrow from that for this film. I really loved how strong Allison was, how she wasn't a damsel in distress, that she was fighting for her family and her survival and her kid. I think very interesting to see a very sort of quote unquote a normal family going through extraordinary circumstances in a way that a lot of people in the world go through and don't necessarily get highlighted. I think this film really um, illuminates the issues with what we are facing with global warming and immigration and starting over. And there's a lot of really interesting themes that I think are important and that audiences will connect with. He's really fun to work with. He's putting in a lot of effort in this, man. I look at him and I'm like, I don't know how you keep this going. He's a really kind person, and we had a great time in the first film. And it's funny how the relationship just kind of carried over after I saw him. I hadn't seen him in, I don't know, 5 years, probably 4 or 5 years. And he gave me this big bear hug, which is what he's really good at. And we just jumped right in, and I felt like I'd been married to him during that whole time, which is a little scary, but mostly good. I think when you create characters together, you kind of get back into the routine of it. It's sort of muscle memory a lot of times. We know who they are really well, and who they are together, and who they are as a family, and it just kind of flows from there. He's got to really keep track of the emotional arc of the story and be able to do these small, intimate moments and adjust to that. And then also these big, ginormous explosions and cars flipping and comets, crashing across the sky. So it's really, it's great. And he's very open he trusts me, I feel like, with the emotional, maintaining the emotional truth and what I think is authentic to the character. So it's we have a very complimentary relationship, I feel like. I think after all the craziness and the running and the emotional roller coaster ride, like to play a scene where all of that is inside you, but you're just speaking very simple words to each other, and all of the journey that you've been on together from the first film and the second film is with you. It was like one of my favorite moments to play. We're in the English Channel that's been dried up, and we've been traversing it and trying to get to France. But it's there these crevices that have opened up in the ground that are thousands of feet deep, and we have to get across somehow. So people have created rope ladders, and then there's like a little jut island, and then metal ladders that have been strung together with rope that then takes us the rest of the journey. It's harrowing. This film is very unique in the sense that it combines action with emotional drama. That's definitely something I haven't done a lot of. I did just shoot a very active and action-driven film last year that did have a very strong emotional connection as well to the story. So I do love these types of films because I think it gives you a little bit of everything, right? It gives you care about the characters, you care about the story, but then you're also really entertained by these massive happenings around them. But I've been lucky to be able to do all kinds of films, and just before this film, I shot a very small indie that was just all people sitting in a room talking to each other, and that was really nice. But then coming to this, I was like, okay, I'm gearing up, we're ready, let's do it.